Yo.
What up?
What's up, Pete? It's the Buttercut. Welcome to the all-new Buttercut podcast. Well, it's all new on Apple Podcasts.
Finally.
Right? I think we set records for the longest time it's ever taken to get approved by Apple Podcast, which I believe is because it was so hot.
Also,
we covered this, right?
Could have been because of my background check was taking so long. I have some unmentionable things on there that might have had something to do with it, but yeah, we're good to go.
Interesting. So, welcome to the Buttercut. Thank you to those of you who have clicked the links that we've put out or who have taken the time to search us on whatever podcast feed that you are listening on. We appreciate it very much. Please subscribe, rate, review. Word of mouth right now is as important as ever. If you could tell a friend or a family member, if somebody that you know is interested in golf and that might enjoy this type of content, please share it. You would be doing us a great service and it is greatly appreciated. It's about algorithms, it's confusing, it's nerdy shit. But at the end of the day, activity in the beginning gets you good chart position in iTunes or in Apple Podcasts. So that's why we harp on it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for engaging. We appreciate you. Onward. Let's get into it.
Maybe the greatest weekend of golf. I would actually say it was the greatest weekend of golf I've ever had watching golf on TV I've ever enjoyed.
Have you ever known somebody as closely as you known Shane that has won?
No.
Obviously not a major, but maybe like, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Even professional tournaments. I guess like Seamus Powers maybe.
Yeah, I know Seamus Power
and Graham.
I've played. Well, I don't know Graham. I only was introduced to Graham through Shane.
Yeah, well, I just knew that you guys were getting boozed up whenever he's in Austin.
Yeah, right. I've only been introduced to Graham through Shane. Had a couple of beers here in Austin, but don't know him at all. And I've played with Rory before growing up.
Sure,
but don't really know Rory at all either.
Y'all competed against each other.
Yes, yeah. Competed in some returns, but
so
fucking crazy. How it went down and.
Oh, was it amazing?
It was like Shane has said it in every interview that I've watched and that he's done since. He keeps saying how surreal it was,
right?
And I can't imagine what it was like for his real close friends, and his family,
right,
and all the team that are there.
Even the people who like took him as like Irish blood that was playing the Irish,
right?
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's people who really like adopted him towards the end of the weekend too.
Yeah, absolutely. And for someone, a friend of his, it was
special,
unbelievably crazy and surreal moment, and it being in Ireland just added to the whole thing.
So they showed a couple of pictures of him growing up, like playing on different golf teams.
Yeah.
How close were you associated with them, like in the early phases? Like you didn't play like high school golf, or I don't know what y'all call it.
Yeah, so I'm from Dublin. He's from a county called Offaly, so outside of Dublin, and no, he was a year below me.
Yeah,
and so that age, but we were all friends with kind of
all
same
the
golfing guys, right?
All the good players. It's like AAU basketball. Like everybody who's good in the city plays together.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was crazy to see someone that like that and grow up, and he's gotten to where he's gotten to.
So for people who have complained about it being kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to win, like going into the third or fourth hole with Lowry in pretty good control, even though he did come out and end up bogeying like three or four or five holes in the middle around there to get it kind of within reason. I just didn't get that sense because of how devastating that course was. Like there were players putting up 14s on a hole sometimes. Obviously it's just David Duval, but like there were, with that kind of weather and on that type of track, I just never thought that it could be put away. Like there's just too much disaster that could have potentially happened. And like one bad hole and all of a sudden you put an 8 up on the board on a par 4 and like that shit just evens it out with Tommy Fleetwood and it's back into a race. So like the whole time, like even though that he had that comfortable like pad, that comfortable lead, I felt like I had like goosebumps even down to the end. Like I was like, please make this putt on 18. Like I knew it didn't need it, but I was like,
yeah, so anyways, I agree. I agree with you.
I thought there was still...
No, I agree with you. We were texting during the round and saying kind of...
You mean me and you?
Yeah. And I was texting other friends that I had, I was texting lads back home, and there was a similar sense of, like, obviously you just want them to win so bad, right? And the thing about the weather, it was a great thing and it was a great thing and a bad thing,
sure,
right? Because, like you said, it meant that he could, one bad swing, you lose a ball, you hit in the bunker, it's pissing rain, you don't quite get it out of the rough, and things can go downhill really quickly, and you can make a 7 like that.
I mean, best case scenario is that you hit it out of bounds in a shitty situation. Did you see the video of Bubba where he tried to pitch it up out of the whatever it was? What's the grass called?
Fescue or whatever.
Is it
yeah,
fescue?
well, the gorse.
The 80s bush.
gorse.
The gorse.
Yeah, the gorse.
And he hits it, and it goes backwards.
Yeah.
There's like shit like that could happen where you just get a shitty line, you got to play it, and like all of a sudden you're taking 4 and 5 strokes just to get out of shit.
Yeah, in links golf, there's just so much that can happen, but the added thing then with the weather was that it meant that the other lads weren't making fucking birdies, right?
Most likely.
Yeah, Fleetwood had the first hole was massive. Fleetwood had a great look at 3. Shane had 8 feet for bogey.
Mm-hmm.
If Fleetwood makes, Shane misses.
That's a huge
It's one shot.
Yeah.
Because if the 4-shot lead is gone down to 1.
Right.
And if you're a 1-shot lead stand on 2, this whole fucking thing is completely different, right?
You pucker up.
Yeah, exactly. The arsehole puckers up very quickly. But Fleetwood missed. He then went on to miss a bunch of kind of makeable, between 14 and 18 feet ones that he had on the front
struggled.
line. And Shane then, once he held that putt on
Oh
that putt on
God.
the first, he held that putt, and the confidence, you could see there was a lot of confidence in that. And then
his putting all weekend. Man.
yeah, it was fantastic.
It was like every time, even if you missed it, it was only by it would only go by 6 inches.
Right,
It was
his pace-
never off.
Yeah, I agree with you. His pace
perfect.
was fantastic.
Even when it
all
rained,
week.
like that would affect how fast the ball rolls. It didn't affect him.
I agree with you.
Amazing.
Paul Azinger on the American broadcast actually said that multiple times.
Yeah.
And like he'd be 30 feet, and Azinger said it during the final round. Because one of the things that you notice really quickly with people when they're nervous is they tend to leave long putts short and uncomfortably short. So there's 4 feet left, 5 feet left. And Shane all day was getting it to the foot past the hole.
Yes.
Right? Like it was perfect place to go in.
Every time.
So yeah, the birdie then on 4, they made on the 4th was massive. Hit 2 fantastic shots. The 4th is such a hard hole. It's the hole where I miscalculated.
Yes.
And I added instead of taking away, and I hit it fucking 40 yards over the green. But
that was super helpful for me, by the way. When we did the featured holes, like I recognized the hole, I recognized the situation that had happened on it before. Like I knew what kind of the stakes were.
Yeah, so
it was cool to watch after talking to you about it.
Yeah, he made a little slider, little kind of 6-foot slider for birdie.
Yeah.
And little fist pump. And he was back to even par for the round, and that was huge because then the 5th hole downwind, drivable, and you just hit a little wood to lay up there. You pitch on, you make another 3. So yeah, the first few holes were massive, and they set the tone, and they just didn't allow Fleetwood to get within 1 or 2 shots, which was the striking distance, right?
But the story of the entire weekend was his round on Saturday, the 63. Okay, so let's go through this.
It was incredible.
Shane Lowry is your champion golfer of the year. If you didn't know that yet, I'm sorry about that, but here you are. After firing a 63-72 over the weekend and finishing at 15 under, 6 shots ahead of second place, who was Tommy Fleetwood, and the largest margin of victory at the Open in 9 years.
So can I say something?
Yes,
the
please.
63, obviously that was the round that set it up because the couple of birdies, the 3 birdies that he made in the last 4 holes on Saturday.
Including on Calamity.
Yes.
That was incredible.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable shot he hit in there. 8 feet below the stick.
And then he nails
that putt. Rolled it
and
right in the dead center.
Palpable. Like you could feel the tension as he was putting it. Like it was just such fantastic. A good scene.
So, but the thing that it meant was he took, by birdieing 3 of the last 4 or whatever, he took about 15 guys that were in with a shout of winning going into Sunday. He got rid of them.
He kneecapped them.
They were done.
Right.
Because he went, all of a sudden, he jumped up to 16 under instead of 13 under.
Right.
So all these guys, 16 under, all the guys at there was a couple of guys at 9 under before the end, but the guys at 8 and 7 kind of still had a chance, but they were 8 and 9 shots behind them. Yeah. They had no chance.
He had stomped it out.
Yeah. So those birdies were huge on the Saturday. The other thing that I thought was amazing was it fucking felt like, watching it felt like watching a soccer match or something. Like
how so? Like the chanting?
Yeah, the atmosphere.
Yeah,
because it was Shane, right, and because he's Irish and it was the first Open back in Ireland. It felt very different.
Yeah,
like I've watched loads of Opens. I've been watching the Open, since I was a little kid, and I don't ever remember watching an Open, even with like Nick Faldo in contention, or an English guy in contention in England, or a Scottish guy in contention in
like
Scotland.
A hometown
I
hero.
don't ever remember being this kind of raucous and rowdy for one guy, and then wanting them to win so bad, and the chant of ole ole coming down the 18th hole, it just felt like watching some kind of soccer match, and it was crazy and it was amazing.
Classic.
Yeah, it was.
So the Lowry's third round 63 broke the 54 hole scoring record at the Open Championship. That's through 3 rounds. Lowest score in the history of the championship.
That's fucking incredible. To have that record as well is fucking awesome. It just again shows how good that round 3 was.
Incredible.
Yep.
We could talk about Lowry for just about ever.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a few of the other guys.
Yep.
Koepka finished tied 4th. 6 under was his finishing mark. This is the 5th straight major that Koepka has finished in the top 5. His 2019 majors, his finishes were tied 2 Masters, win at the PGA Championship, 2nd at the U.S. Open, and finally he finished tied 4th at the Open. This is incredible. It's an incredible run. And so just to put this into perspective, Koepka is only the 5th player since the Masters era, which started in 1934, to finish top 5 in all 4 majors in a calendar year. The other players being Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Ricky Fowler, and Jordan Spieth, which happened in 2015.
Pretty amazing year that he had. In fact, if he had finished tied 3rd or better,
then he'd have been
the only guy that had ever finished top 3 or better in all 4.
So no one has ever finished top 3 in all 4 in a calendar year.
It's still not the greatest major year ever. I mean, it's not even close. Tiger Woods won 3.
He only won 1.
Well, Tiger Woods won. Well, no.
But Brooks did.
Yeah, so exactly. Tiger won 3 in 1 year, and then he followed up 8 months later by winning the Masters for 4 in a row. So yeah, Brooks only won 1. No, he had an absolute incredible year to be in contention in all of them, and to kind of in every single one of them.
Play kind of shitty.
In the Open he played great, but it was the first time we saw him not put well.
That's what it is. He had one facet of his game that didn't fire at this weekend at the Open, and then at the Masters, I feel like he wasn't quite on, but he finished tied 2nd somehow.
You're right. Yeah, he wasn't. He made a couple of mistakes, but yeah, his putting wasn't on this week. It was amazing watching him over Saturday and Sunday. Like he hit the amount of lips that he hit was incredible. He could have been so deep in the game, and wouldn't that have been amazing to see if it was Brooks and Shane coming in the stretch, and to see how different it might have been. But it was Brooks. Koepka, he hit it really well, but couldn't get in.
He had some quote about, "I'm hitting it better than anybody else."
I didn't like that. He sounded like a fucking arrogant cunt.
He sounded kind of like a cunt, but then he was like, "But I'm the worst putter on the whole damn tour at this point."
Well, he
balanced.
Here's the other thing, though. Firstly, no, you're not hitting it better than anyone else out there, because the number 1 in greens in regulation was Shane Lowry.
Yeah.
So you're not hitting it as good as him.
Right.
So let's get that out of the way.
There you go.
Exactly. So no, you weren't hitting it better than that.
And Koepka, if you want to talk some shit, Elgars will come beat that ass. So watch out.
Exactly. So no, but he did play really well. What else we got?
Incredibly well. Schauffele versus the R&A.
Yeah, this was an interesting article that I read.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the start of the week on Monday,
before competition,
the R&A went around and randomly selected 30 players.
Correct.
Took their drivers and tested their drivers.
The club heads.
Yeah, they test the face of it. It's called the trampoline effect.
Yes.
So it's the amount that the face of the driver kind of springs the golf ball off it, right? So when you slow it down in slow-mo, we've all kind of seen when a golf ball hits the face of a driver in slow-mo and it then springs the golf ball back out, right?
Right.
Callaway were like the first company to do this back when they introduced, it was the one after the Great Big Bertha, but this trampoline effect. And
this is the second year they've done it. So they did it last year as well at the Open.
Right. And what they do is they have a number, they have some kind of number that it's not allowed to be more than this. The trampoline effect can't go over there. It can't spring more than this.
It's number. A loaded bat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because every driver is different, drivers are different week to week. Drivers, the face of the drivers, they deaden. Wear and tear plays different things in them. So they wanted.
I mean, these are finely tuned clubs too. Like these are set to perfection, and like weather even could probably influence it.
So they tested 30 of them. Tiger Woods' driver was tested, and it was fine. It was passed. A bunch of them failed,
but only one was leaked.
Yeah,
and that was Schauffele.
The R&A came out and announced that Xander Schauffele's was not fit for play,
and he had pissed.
Well, here's the thing about being pissed as well. the PGA Tour, I think kind of similar to the R&A. These golfers are, because Xander said that he was walking down the range and one of the fellow players shouted at him, you're cheater, as a joke.
Right.
Shoffley obviously didn't fucking take it very well because he's been crying about it.
He's been pissed ever since.
Yeah, but the players themselves are self-contractors, right? They're not employed by the PGA Tour they get to play on it, but they're self-contractors and they win prize money, right? So if someone fails a drug test, for instance, on the PGA Tour,
okay,
the PGA Tour or the R&A, it's never, the details of any failed drug test are never released to the public.
Really?
They're kept private. There's no need for they don't want to bash the image of a player who's self-contracted by the PGA Tour.
I guess that makes
everything
sense.
is kept private. They're not, they're not like, it's not like the NFL or anything like where these are employees of the NFL, right?
Right.
And they're going to tell everyone this guy failed a drug test.
They're not a league sanctioning these
exactly.
players.
So they, the players are self-contractors. So the PGA Tour have always kept things private, and that's Shoffley's biggest issue. And he was the only one. No one else's failed test was released.
So what he was pissed about was he failed. A couple others failed as well, but the only person that it was leaked, the only person whose results were leaked were Xander Shoffley's. He was playing I think it was a Epic Flash Sub-Zero, something like that from Callaway.
Yeah, which those, if you know anything about that driver head, it's the fucking hottest club face on the tour. Like the thing is just going absolutely fucking miles. Yeah.
So they fail his driver, and on top of him having to put up with like the news being leaked,
he has to get a new driver.
He has to play a new driver,
which is that's a nightmare.
A significant development.
And he shot like 75 in round one.
Right. That's what I've been searching this whole time, is trying to find his first round versus second round, because I think he swung like 8 or 9 strokes just because he got used to playing a backup driver.
Yeah, he ended up shooting like 75, 67 or 66 or something like that.
Exactly. And so he was pissed. And then there was some other like kind of quippy quotes that he said about like, why don't you just test everybody? Like, what is the point of doing 30 when you could just do the
exactly
entire field?
That's absolutely fact.
Is it really that time consuming to test a driver?
And this is the British Open, or the Open. Sorry, this is the Open Championship. Like, why are we? If we're going to test everyone, why are we only doing 30? Take the fucking time.
Why not?
And test all 152 players or whatever.
So in round 1, he shot a 74. Round 2, he shot a 65.
Yeah.
So as he got a little bit more comfortable with the driver, things kind of panned out. But then he shot a 78 on Sunday. So, take that with a grain of salt. He still shot shitty once he was comfortable. Here we are. Me and your picks.
Yes.
We did not select the winner. However, you predicted a Tiger Woods and a Rory McIlroy missed cut, which is about the most outrageous thing. Like, that's harder than picking the winners, to pick the two of the top players in the field.
Yeah, I think the Tiger one wasn't a shock to anybody because he hadn't played, right? And he looked like he was fucking 100 years old every time he took a step.
But you knew it was possible that he could win still, even though he was 100 years old. Like, all of a sudden he could just bust out and be this meteorite coming towards Earth.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
But
it was still a leap.
The Rory thing, it was just, I just feel like I haven't watched Rory close enough for the last number of years.
Yeah.
There's some things that I think are glaring about the way he plays in his game.
Yeah.
And his attitude and when he thrives and then when he plays poorly. And I think it's kind of blatantly, there are just very obvious things that you can see.
Sure.
Everyone kind of knows who watches golf. One of Rory's things is he kind of, when he's up and around ish the lead and things are tied and he starts playing poorly and he shoots himself out of a tournament, he's notorious for then birdieing like 6 of the last 9 holes.
Once he's out of it
and sneaking in a top 10.
He damn near wasn't out of it. He almost got it. He missed by a stroke, I think.
Exactly, right?
It was incredible.
So then the next thing, this event has, as much as he tried to downplay it, it was just the biggest, most important tournament he's ever played in his whole life.
Ugh.
And no one, kind of just haven't watched him in those situations. The pressure, I just thought, was always going to be way too much for him. When the pressure is on him, he tends to start hitting it way left.
Which is what he did on the first hole, right?
Yeah. So
he yanked it out of bounds.
with his driver now, he's hitting a high cut. Like, he's trying to hit everything at high cut.
So if you yank left,
once the pressure's on, the thing just starts going left. And and it sounds harsh what I'm saying, because saying when the pressure's on, because he's won 4 majors, right?
Sure.
So he's won in pressure situation. The thing though about his major wins,
different level pressure.
Well, his 4 major wins were 2 of them were by like 6 and 8 shots, or 2 of them were by 8 shots, right? So he was playing good and he was way ahead, and everything was great and everything was, easy for him.
Right.
I've seen him when the pressure gets on, he starts hitting things left, and you can just tell by the way he carries himself and his body language, and even the look in his face, he gets flustered and he knows the pressure gets to him.
Well, and then you stack on top, this is the first time they've hosted a major in your hometown since 1951.
Yeah.
Like, there's that pressure, and then you just go ahead and times it by 5 million, because that's what he was feeling, is he was the hero. He was a hometown hero. Like, people had banners flying out of their windows and stuff. They swapped him out after he shot a 79 round 1 with McDowell. Did you see some of those pictures? There's like this group of dudes who had like a McElroy banner hanging out of their window, and the next day it said Graham McDowell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just one of those things that.
But he did go 79-65, ended up 2 over, missing the cut by
and
1 stroke.
He may as well have gone 84-84, because it fucking doesn't matter.
Same difference.
He's
Well,
same fucking difference.
You saved some face by storming back. Like, it was exciting watching. Like, that was a fun time.
I don't know. I wasn't. I didn't think it was exciting. I'm sorry. And I know. I know everyone else did. Even on the broadcast, watching the broadcast, all the commentators, they kept saying the same fucking thing, which kept pissing me off.
Which was?
They kept saying, "Oh, this is showing the heart of a champion."
No,
it's not showing the heart of a champion. He fucking played himself out of it on the first day where he had no chance.
Really, on the first and the 18th?
Yeah, exactly.
He went like, what, 7 over or something?
He snap hooked an iron out of bounds on the first. He played himself out so there was no pressure.
So far out, there's no pressure.
And then,
but
here's the other thing.
Then there was at the end.
Yes,
and he didn't
what
finish.
Happened?
Yeah,
he didn't
that
finish.
was where I thought you were going with this.
Yeah, it was.
The pressure came back and he didn't finish.
It was perfect the way he finished, because I was watching it. Here's what I was thinking when he was going in 17 and he hit that shot into 17, and he had like about a 15 footer for birdie on 17.
Yeah.
To get back to 1 over, which was the cut line. I was thinking, you know what's going to be perfect here? He's going to make this 15 footer on 17, and then he's going to fucking bogey the last when the pressure is on to miss the cut.
Out.
Exactly. And now that didn't happen. He missed, and then he had a good tee shot down the last, and he had a
shitty approach or something.
He had I don't know. He had a fucking 8 iron from the middle of the fairway,
and
what happened? He hit it left.
That's what it was. Left of the green. It rolled off that side.
You have to hit it 15 feet right of the pin. Give yourself a 15 footer to the right.
Because it rolls left, right?
Because it's gone left. There's no chance.
That course is brutal, man. People were like, your ball would touch the green and end up 15 yards off it, 20 yards off it, like, just because of the slope and because like. Whatever.
Very difficult golf course. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Rory. I think I wasn't surprised at all. I thought he would miss the cut. And my other picks then to win, I picked Rahm, I picked Spieth, all played well. Fowler, I picked, all played well. All of those guys were like in the hunt-ish, through round 2 and round 3.
Scott was the only one that missed.
Yeah, Adam Scott was the only disappointment. And I kind of went off, the weather is going to be kind of bad. And then I listened to Darren Clarke's interview on Tuesday, and he said he had played with Adam Scott on Sunday, and Adam Scott was just hitting it so good.
Yeah.
And I was like,
swing's good.
Oh, no, it's
like
great.
You said, his putter's not always there. Yeah. What did I have? Day. I had Matsuyama.
Sorry, Day's finished. Can we touch on that? That was so hilarious. Painful. He was fucking 4 under par. He was only 2 shots back in the lead at that point. You know what makes it funnier?
I was at a wedding catering testing with my phone, watching him just bogey. And I was like, fuck. And my fiance's like, what are you doing? Shut up.
Yeah, he was 4 under for the tournament with 5 holes to play.
That's right.
And he finished bogey, double, bogey, par, or something like that.
And missed the cut by 1.
Missed the putt by 1.
That's right.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It was quite painful for me.
Yeah.
And then my other guy, Matsuyama, he was never really in it. Woodland missed the cut. I thought his stinger would play well in that weather.
Yeah, not surprising again.
He didn't practice.
He had no play. Yeah, hadn't played since the Open.
My other 2 guys were just shooing guaranteed good finishes, Rose and Koepka. Like, you really can't go wrong with them. There's no...
Yeah.
Whatever. So, that's how we finished. Not a whole lot of winners, but we did select a couple of missed cuts that were very improbable. Let's move on. We've got a tournament this week, and it just so happens to be a World Golf Championship.
Yeah.
Which is kind of shocking and surprising. You knew better, but I was caught off guard just a little bit. So let's go on with it. The FedEx St. Jude Invitational. This is a WGC World Golf Championship event. The PGA Tour heads to TPC Southwind in Memphis for the WGC-FedEx St. Jude. This is the fourth and final WGC event of the season. The season actually ends in August. So there is a WGC event in 2019. It's in October, but it's technically in the next season in the PGA.
Is it in China? Is
Yeah.
the one in China?
Yeah.
Quickly,
Go ahead.
Quick thing, on the schedule, obviously, with the move in the PGA, it used to be a really demanding 3 weeks because you'd have the Open, WGC, and then the PGA back to back to back.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was a hectic kind of 3 weeks.
It sounds like
the thing, it just meant there was a little bit of a bigger gap before the Open kind of thing, and so it would get kind of hectic for them, and obviously they moved the PGA now, but interesting.
It seems like you should just move the WGC event out from in between them.
I don't know,
but it sounds like they don't move it. Like the WGCs are stuck in stone, right?
Yeah. I tend to agree with you, but I think, listen, there's guys that look at the schedule and they plan it for a long time. And this is just the best place for it. I don't know what's the week after. I know the FedEx Cup is kind of getting close.
Well, now it's okay, but when it was a PGA all back to back to back, that seemed kind of heavy.
Yeah.
So to put this into perspective, I've got a Jim Furyk quote on WGC events. He says, the 4 majors and the Players Championship and the World Golf Championships, those are the 9 biggest events in golf every year.
Yep.
So that kind of puts it into perspective. They're just a tier below majors.
And the World Golf Championships are
because
fantastic.
Of purse, right?
Well, they're fantastic for the players because it's an invitational small field.
No cut.
There's no cut, and it's a guaranteed paycheck. So just like the WGC match play event here in Austin, if you could go out and shoot this week in Memphis, you could go out and shoot 85, 85, 85, 85, and you'd collect $50,000.
Not a bad day.
Exactly.
Pay for your travel expenses.
Yep.
So the format, like we were just saying, it's a 75-player field, which is about half of the standard pro event. There is no cut, as we mentioned. This week, actually, there are not even 75 players. I think it's down around the 60s. But
yeah, because a few lads have probably backed out.
That's right. So qualifying criteria. So those of you who aren't that familiar with World Golf Championships, the players ranked in the top 50 of the official World Golf rankings get in, and then there's some other side qualifiers that could get you
it's
in.
all
President's Cup, Riders' Cup team members.
If you've won an event on the European Tour in the
but
last
only a select
right,
two?
there's only a few of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's because any of those guys are all probably in the top 50 or they've already qualified via different avenues.
So the other criteria is confusing as shit.
Yeah.
But just know, top 50 in the official World Golf rankings you get in, and then some outliers like 25.
Yeah.
So WGC storylines, the field, 45 of the world's top 50 players are committed. Like I said, there's 64 total committed to playing this week. Of the official World Golf Rankings top 50, non-participants include Lowry.
Our boy. Can I quickly say something
Please
on this?
do.
Shane, he, on Friday, it was, I believe, after round 2, he was asked about, someone brought up the World Golf Championship next week.
Yeah.
And I think saying, if he wins, and Shane answered, he said, he goes, well, no matter what happens, I'll be on a flight on Monday. He goes, no matter what happens this weekend, I'll be on a flight on Monday going to Memphis to play in the World Golf Championship.
It was hard to envision what Sunday night was going to look like, though.
Exactly. I think he just said, listen, I'm going anyway. And then he didn't really fucking comprehend, well, fuck. What the fuck if I win this fucking thing?
The videos going around with him are hilarious.
Oh, they're incredible.
Well, because of many things, but mostly because of the amount of Guinness that are in these things.
Yeah.
Like there's all this oil-colored beer, and it's like, oh my God, if I drink 20 of those.
Everyone has a Guinness on them.
It's just such a worse hangover.
Oh, it's
hefty.
fantastic. You're shitting black for an entire day.
That sounds quite pleasant.
It is so.
That sounds just like what I want to do when I'm hungover.
I've had many a morning of the Guinness hangover and the Guinness shits, but it was, those videos are hilarious. And I think what I thought initially, I thought, well, there's no way. I kind of thought, well, maybe he will show up because it's
a lot of money.
Exactly, it's a lot of money.
Well, he probably spent 50 G's at the bar this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And when you start turning your nose up at fucking free cash like that, that gets a bit much.
It's a good time out there too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of pressure. They're putting you up and treating you like the world's best.
But then I saw an interview with him live today from.
Is he just green?
Tuesday, yeah, from Clara, where he's from, his hometown in Offaly, and there was so many people there, and he had said that they said, so you've withdrawn from the WGC, and he just chuckled and just said, yeah. I mean,
he withdrew
like
this
he said, yeah, he has bigger fish to fry here in Clara. There's a lot of Guinness to be drunk. There's a lot of songs to be sung.
He's doing good work with that jug. Like he's doing a lot of good Instagram stories.
Yeah, I saw a couple of pictures of people drinking out of it. There's just you know,
sleeping with it.
Yeah, exactly. You may only win this thing once, so you really have to fucking enjoy yourself.
And it just so happens he did it the only time in the last 65 years that it was his home country.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah. Okay, so Lowry withdrew this morning. He's probably puking out, shitting black Guinness.
Yeah,
we're worried for him. He's gonna make it though.
I think he's a more of a cider man, actually, as far as I can remember.
Wow.
I think he drinks Bulmers. Yeah, anyway,
he probably sits down to pee too. Tiger Woods, 5th in the world, 5th official world golf ranking. Lowry, by the way, is 17th.
Yeah, 17th.
So he withdrew. Woods withdrew. He decided
for old age. I think he withdrew from. He looks like a fucking decrepit old fool now at this point.
So his decision to skip came after he finished his second round at the Open behind the projected cut line and while battling soreness. So this is after he really kind of just no-showed.
I wonder at the next event, will he lobby to like John Daly to ask for a cart? Yeah, have him play in a cart the whole way around.
I hope not. Please don't do that.
No, obviously he would never do that. He'd retire before he fucking did that.
The other three who are not in the field: Francisco Molinari, 7th player in the world; Ricky Fowler, the 14th; and Bernd Weisberg, 40th. How do you pronounce that?
Bernd Weisberger, yeah.
Bernd.
Yeah, Bernd Weisberger.
Bernd.
Yeah, Bernd Weisberger.
Got you. Well, he's 40th and he's not coming.
He won the Scottish Open the week before the British Open.
Is that right?
Yeah, so he would have played in the Irish Open. He won the Scottish Open, played British Open. He needs a fucking break.
Let me dig into this a little bit more, this British Open. It feels like that American journalists are taking digs at the Open Championship by like pronouncing that it is the British Open. Like they go out of their way to say it. Like, do you get that sense?
I actually haven't heard any American journalists say it.
Well, I'm only reading also, so I can't tell the inflection on it. But like every time I see like Jeff Shackelford posting something, he's like the British Open, and it's just like, you know damn well they want you to call it the Open. Like I'm not saying you should conform. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just wondering if that's like.
To be honest, is
that a dick play? Is he being a dick?
No. Listen, to be honest. The way I would see it
makes sense if you're trying to talk to your viewers or whatever. Well,
the way I would see it though is like, and this, I don't know, I may get some fucking hatred for this, but if you're from the US, the Open is your US Open. Right, it's your national. It's your
according
national.
To your perspective,
right? It's your national championship, and it happens to be a major. So if you're from the US, yeah, it's the British Open.
Well, it's also confusing because there's a US Open tennis, and there's all sorts of shit that gets confusing.
I don't have any problem with it, but just know that the RNA definitely would have a problem with it because they fucking went out of their way to make sure that they had the rights, and it was patented as the Open.
They got their hashtags and shit all lined up. Anyway, it just felt kind of spiteful for some of the more prevalent golf journalists that were there and covering it. Yeah. Okay, so storyline number 2, jet lag. 33 of the world's best golfers were on a charter flight from Northern Ireland on Sunday night that landed around 12:15 a.m. Monday in Memphis International Airport. Forward expeditions were waiting on the tarmac for each of them, ready to whisk everyone away. From Dustin Johnson to Jordan Spieth to Justin Thomas, away in the middle of the night. They began trickling into TPC Southwind driving range about 10 hours later. So
listen, Brad,
all these dudes played through Sunday, flew overnight, and there's surely jet lag.
I don't feel fucking sorry for them.
Well, firstly, let's be real.
Firstly, in the slightest. Firstly, they're flying fucking first class on a chartered fucking plane all the way over. They're just going to sleep the whole way over there. Secondly, I fucking grinded my hole off on the mini tours.
Yes.
Driving in a car hours to some shithole in the middle of fucking Louisiana.
Yes.
To go play on a shit golf course against guys that are shooting fucking 20 under to win no fucking money. These guys are being driven onto tarmac in 100%. An expedition, being carried onto a plane, given fucking blowies by the fucking air stewards,
being paid even if they shoot 100.
They're given 50 grand even if they shoot 100 and withdraw after the first round. They still get 50 grand. So yeah, I really don't feel any fucking sympathy for them.
And that's not the point of the storyline. The point of the storyline is that it will affect some of these players, and it'll affect their performance, and they probably don't give a fuck.
So the guys,
most of them are collecting paychecks if they're that tired.
So you think the guys who didn't play in the Open?
So my theory...
How many of them are there?
Well, so my theory is that those who missed the cut are in better shape than those who made the cut. And then, not necessarily that's a guarantee across the board, but I do feel like that some of these players are coming in here and they're used to being 6 or 7 or 8 hours ahead in whatever the
it's a fair point.
I just feel like that has to influence your performance in some capacity.
No, it will. It's a fair point, but then again, by Thursday you'll be fucking fine.
They're getting fucking back rubs and feet rubs and whatever they need.
Massage table every day.
I'm not saying feel bad for them. I'm just saying it could influence some of these guys' performances.
I would probably agree with you.
There we are. Yeah. Now we're in agreement.
Go ahead.
We've got my title here is Newish Venue. So this is confusing. So previously, the WGC was WGC Bridgestone Invitational in Ohio. Yeah. And sorry for those of you who can hear that. My dog is chewing things up here. The sponsorship ran out, and FedEx has chosen to buy it moving forward starting in 2019. Right. And so therefore, originally the St. Jude, the FedEx St. Jude Invitational was in June. Yep. It is now being moved to this weekend and is a WGC event. So that's the gist of it. Basically, it's just a regular event that has been upgraded to a WGC event, and it is now being held in Memphis, which is a huge deal for the city of Memphis and those around there.
Yeah, massive win for them. It's a huge fucking tournament. So anytime you get a WGC event in your hometown, it's massive. I remember it was actually held in Mount Juliet years ago, which Mount Juliet's a fantastic inland parkland course in just outside of Dublin, and it was held there a couple of times, I think, right? And actually, quick story on that tournament, right? Okay. One of the tournament, I never forget this.
This isn't a WGC event.
Yeah, WGC.
Really?
Held in Ireland at Mount Juliet, outside of Dublin, right?
Okay,
years ago. Tiger Woods won it, right?
Of course.
Obviously, he fucking won. But the thing to take from that tournament was Tiger Woods had gone, he was winning by like fucking 10 shots or something, right? He was miles ahead.
Okay.
And
so it was like 0-2 or something.
He had gone 71 holes straight without a bogey. And he gets number 18. And 18 is a really difficult par 4. It's like 490-yard par 4. Ugh. And he'd been hitting 2-iron. He's been hitting a stinger 2-iron off the tee all week. Okay. And then like a 4-iron into the green. And he hits 2-iron right down the middle of the fairway on the 72nd hole. And he's standing in the middle of the fairway with like 4-iron. And he's hitting a second shot. And right in his fucking downswing, a fucking journalist laying behind him with the camera takes a photo, puts him off, and Tiger fucking balloons this thing up into the bunker. Tiger looked at him, and he nearly fucking threw the club at this guy's head.
He is the most sensitive little bitch about this shit.
He'd won the tournament, and he was like 8 ahead, but he wanted to go 72 holes without a bogey. He'd never done it before.
Yeah.
And he fucking ballooned this thing up into the bunker, hit it onto the bunker, and missed his putt for par, and bogeyed the last. And he was just so angry.
His father used to like stand behind him and clap and shit. Is that why it bothers him so much? You think?
Well, no, I think.
Do you think it had the reverse effect?
It was. I think he was. So normally he can stop. He's amazing at stopping.
I've seen it.
He was just too close and he couldn't. Too far down. He couldn't stop. But yeah, that's just my memory from that Mount Juliet event.
He has some of the like most classic mid swing stops.
I know it's
of all time. Yeah, he's great.
But yeah, big for Memphis getting this event. Yeah, like anything, the contract would have been up with Bridgestone and at Akron, and like the event here in Austin. At some point, the members just want their golf course back, and they kind of
you have to pay a toll.
Exactly, and it's
you lose your course for like 3-4 months.
Exactly. Well, it's not that long.
Is it not?
No, you don't lose
Seems
for that
like
long. It does. Well, they're very good at coming in and putting the grandstands.
It's probably
in
a month before and like a month and a half after.
You lose it for about a month total.
Okay.
But what ends up happening, you end up having to do a bunch of work on the course. So the course is open, but there's a ton of work going on.
Well, they have to lengthen like it. Everybody always plays it super long.
And they build new tee boxes. Yes. They redo greens. There's a bunch of shit involved in it. So
they play the one in Austin backwards. Like they play the
exactly
10th as number 1. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of shit that's involved in it. So yeah, it becomes a pain in the ass at some point, and the members are always like, all right, good riddance, let's move on. So that's why the WGC events, they bounce around.
So you still have to get me on the course that they play here.
Yes, ACC, I do. Okay. I will get you on there.
Okay, good.
My name's on the board when you walk into the pro shop there. Harvey Pennick, champ. Thank you very much.
Mine's probably not.
Shout out to Harvey Pennick.
Mine might be on there for being thrown out of the country club pool when I was 8 years old.
When you were a kid.
That's probably it.
For trying to finger young babes.
Stealing a hot dog or some shit. Who knows? A little butterfinger.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that concludes all of our storylines from this week.
Love it.
It's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Another good week of golf right after a major.
Yeah, it's great.
Betting odds. Have you looked at any of this shit?
I haven't, but...
Do you have a couple players that you feel good about? In preparation for this, I picked 5. I only need like 2.
Okay, I'm gonna pick. Hey, you tell me your 5. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look at the field here real quick.
So I've put these guys in reverse order, starting with worst odds to best odds. So Thorbjørn Olesen.
Fuck the Danish fucking porn star.
He's plus 10,000.
One of my favorite golfers. One of my favorite golfers.
He's enjoyable to watch. He's got really good like swag. He's got good game.
Parties, drinks hard, rips heaters when he's out in the club. He's an absolute champ.
I respect
Thorbjørn's a champ.
Matthew Wolff, the rookie at plus 9,000. I think he's kind of an interesting target. He doesn't have any jet lag. He doesn't have any issue with the Open. No travel, no nothing. He's really good. He won
he's really
recently.
fucking good.
I think that the course sets up nicely for him. I've got Alex Noren, who impressed the shit out of me at the Open.
Yeah, he's been actually. I kind of like that pick. He's been quiet for a little. He's been quiet for a little while, and he's slowly kind of getting his.
I'm a little bit worried about him because, like, right when he really hit his peak powers, like 2 years ago, was when I really hopped on his back, and his whole fucking career kind of tanked after that. He had come to Austin and competed in the WGC event like probably 2 years back, and after that, he just has not been good. So he's kind of showing form again. He's plus 7,000. Alex Noren played great at the Open. I like him. My 2 favorite towards the favorite tier, Tony Finau at plus 3,300. Dustin Johnson at plus 800 is the favorite. He's won at this course 2 or 3 times, I believe. So horse for the course.
Yep.
He's not bothered by jet lag. He's too dumb. He's just whack the ball, make the putt, bang the pretty blonde.
Okay. Do you have one more?
How many is it. That's all 5.
Okay, I have 3.
I
have 3. I'm going to give
you what you got.
My first pick this week.
I'll give you the odds when you.
And I'm going to pick this guy to win this week is Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay to win.
He's at 2,200 plus 2,200.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Patrick Cantlay to win. Odds. I'm going to pick then I'm going to give you 2 top 5s.
Okay.
I'm going to give you Louis Oosthuizen, and I'm going to give you Louis Oosthuizen.
Louis Oosthuizen's plus 4,000 to win. I don't know what his top 5 are, but
I would back him to top 5.
Just to give you a sense of against the guys that I picked.
Yeah, and then I'm going to give you my last one is I'll give you Xander Schauffele.
Ooh, I wonder if he's got his Sub-Zero back.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he'll have a Sub-Zero back, but
he's pissed as fuck. That's for sure.
He's kind of pissed off. I think he probably wants to go out and fucking play well. And so yeah, I'll give you Xander Schauffele. I'll give you who's my middle one? Louis Oosthuizen, and then to win, I'm giving Patrick Cantlay.
These odds brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use promo code BDC for I believe 50% deposit bonus when you sign up and make a deposit. You should do that. Go make some bets. BDC. All right. That covers our gambling portion. That really covers just about everything that we've done here.
Love it.
Closing remarks. Again, please subscribe, rate, review. It's never been more important than it is right now. Tell a friend. Tell your foursome. Tell your boys.
Mom.
Tell your girlfriend. Tell
your
mom.
granny.
Your granny. Granny would love this podcast.
Granny loves a bit of golf, loves listening to my gorgeous accents.
I'll hold back a couple F-bombs next episode if you just tell your grandma to come
shit,
listen.
I may need to stop saying cunt then. Yeah. So maybe don't tell your granny.
That's a little aggressive for the grannies. Tell everybody else, though. Okay. Everybody else, please come subscribe, rate, review. You would be doing us an incredibly big service. We appreciate you listening this long. We talked a lot of bullshit today, and we appreciate it very much. Social media calls. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at The Buttercut Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at The Buttercut Pod. host Instagrams. Pete, what's your Instagram?
At Petey the Irish Guy. Please follow me.
Please do. Great follow. What was that meal that you had posted with the steak inside?
Oh,
of the
the beef
stuff?
Wellington. Oh,
I never heard of beef Wellington.
The Gordon Ramsay special.
I've
absolutely
been
phenomenal, wasn't it?
drooling over this shit
Yeah, it
for
was
the last week
absolutely
now.
phenomenal. Yeah, and I'll have a couple of good weeks. I'm going up to play in the member guest tournament at the International Golf Club up in Boston. It's maybe my favorite week of the year.
That's fancy.
Yeah, I played in it last year. One of my good friends, also Irish golfer, played for Ireland. Played in the golf team, my college golf team with me. His name's Ronan O'Connor. He's a member of the International.
O'Connor's a good Irish name.
Yeah, he's a member of the International. It's a fantastic week. You're treated like a king. But yeah, we'll have some good stuff I'll be posting on there. Some funny shit.
And you can always follow me at Bradley B. Key on Instagram. That's it and that's all. Thank you very much for listening. This has been a production of MWBTK Creative.
Bye-bye.
Anything else, Bubba?
No, that's it.
That's it and that's all.